Have you ever tried to grasp water with your hands, only to watch it slip through your fingers? The more you clench, the more it escapes. Yet when you relax and let it flow, it moves around you, with you, becoming part of your very being. This elusive, fluid, ever-present quality of water is not just a poetic metaphor. It is, in fact, the very heart of a philosophy that seeks to understand the fabric of existence itself. Welcome to the unfolding journey, a space where we unravel the deep questions of life, philosophy, and the self. If you're someone who finds beauty in complexity, meaning in mystery, and wisdom in ancient thought, you're in the right place. Today, we're delving into one of the most profound and enigmatic philosophies ever conceived, Taoism, and exploring its central concept, the Tao. At the core of Taoism lies a paradox. The Tao cannot be named, yet it is the source of everything. The Tao Te Ching, attributed to the ancient Chinese sage Laozi, begins with a powerful declaration. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. This isn't just an intellectual game. It is a direct challenge to our modern obsession with defining, categorizing, and controlling our reality. In Taoism, the moment we try to label something, we separate ourselves from its essence. The Tao is not a deity, not a doctrine, not even a set of rules. It is the way, the ultimate principle underlying all things, both seen and unseen. So what is it really? Imagine the Tao as the flow of the universe, the invisible current behind the unfolding of all phenomena. It is the breath of the cosmos, the rhythm of nature, the harmony of opposites. It is not out there, but right here, pulsing through your life, shaping the turn of the seasons, the motion of your thoughts, the rise and fall of civilizations. And like water, the Tao is soft yet powerful, elusive yet ever-present. One of the most vital principles that arises from Taoist thought is Wu Wei, often translated as non-action or effortless action. This doesn't mean doing nothing. It means aligning oneself so completely with the natural order that your actions flow spontaneously, without force or resistance. Think of a skilled musician improvising. They're not thinking through every note. They've internalized the form so completely that the music flows through them effortlessly. Or consider how trees grow, rivers wind, clouds form. They do not strain. They simply become. Wu Wei is the art of knowing when to act and when to let go. It's a life lived in harmony with the Tao, not in opposition to it. This has radical implications in a world driven by hustle, competition, and control. Taoism teaches us that true power arises not from domination, but from yielding. The Tao, after all, is not aggressive. It doesn't strive, yet it gives birth to all things. Reality, according to Taoism, is not composed of isolated things, but of relationships. Nothing exists in isolation. The world unfolds through duality, not opposition, through yin and yang. Yin and yang are not good and evil. They are complementary forces, light and dark, activity and rest, expansion and contraction. One gives rise to the other. They are interdependent, fluid, and constantly shifting. This symbol of the Taoist yin-yang, two halves swirling into one another, illustrates the fundamental truth that reality is not static. It breathes. Day becomes night. Life becomes death. Strength emerges from softness. Everything is in flux. Taoism does not tell us to conquer darkness or cling to light. It asks us to honor both. To live well is to understand this dynamic balance, to know when to assert and when to yield, when to speak and when to remain silent. Much of our suffering, Taoism teaches, comes from the illusion of separateness. We believe we are separate from nature, from others, from the Tao itself. But this ego-bound sense of self is just a ripple on the surface of a vast ocean. To follow the Tao is to soften the boundaries of the ego, to recognize that we are not independent agents acting upon the world. We are expressions of it. Like waves arising from the sea, we are part of a greater whole. And just as waves rise and fall, so do we, not as tragedies, but as natural movements of the way. This is a path of humility and wonder. It means letting go of rigid identities, of endless striving for control, of the need to always be right. In doing so, we find a deeper freedom, the freedom of being in flow with life. In our fast-paced, hyper-connected, constantly on world, Taoism offers a deeply needed counterbalance. It speaks to our spiritual exhaustion, our search for meaning, our quiet longing for peace. Where modern culture tells us to push harder, Taoism says, soften. Where we're told to speak louder, Taoism invites us to listen. Where society tells us to be someone, Taoism whispers, just be. Taoism isn't about escaping life or achieving some mystical enlightenment. It's about entering more fully into the life you already have, but doing so with awareness, with reverence, and with trust in the unfolding of the Tao. Even simple acts, walking, cooking, breathing, can become meditative when done in harmony with the Tao. The ordinary becomes sacred. The mundane reveals its mystery. Taoism finds its deepest wisdom not in books or temples, but in nature. Mountains, rivers, forests, these are sacred texts in their own right. To understand the Tao, observe how water flows around obstacles, how the seasons cycle without complaint, how animals live without anxiety. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. By returning to nature, not just physically, but spiritually, we begin to hear the quiet voice of the Tao once again. Throughout history, Taoism has influenced art, medicine, martial arts, and spiritual practice. It has shaped entire cultures, yet it remains deeply personal and accessible. It asks us to return to a more simple, natural, and spontaneous way of being. Its ethical principles are subtle yet profound. Be humble. Be kind. Live simply. Trust the way. These are not commandments to be obeyed under threat, but invitations, gentle nudges toward harmony. Taoism doesn't offer promises of eternal salvation or rigid moral codes. Instead, it opens a space for us to listen, to observe, to flow. It offers not a map, but a compass, not answers, but questions that guide us back to what is most essential. So where does this leave us? In a world obsessed with doing, Taoism invites us to just be. In a society hungry for control, Taoism teaches the wisdom of letting go. In a culture fragmented by polarity, Taoism reminds us of the dance of unity in duality. The Tao is not something you find. It's something you notice, in the stillness between breaths, in the falling of a leaf, in the silence after a storm. It's already here, always has been. To live in tune with the Tao is not to retreat from life, but to embrace it more fully, with humility, with openness, and with awe. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Taoism and the nature of reality. Here on The Unfolding Journey, we're committed to exploring timeless wisdom, personal growth, and the mysteries of consciousness with curiosity and care. If this exploration spoke to something in you, if it stirred reflection, peace, or even a few new questions, then you're already walking the way. And we'd love to have you walk it with us. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and share this video with someone who might find inspiration in these teachings. Leave a comment below. What part of the Taoist philosophy resonates most with you? Until next time, stay open, stay curious, and stay present. Let the journey unfold.